Hollow Creek was like any other quaint town, boasting its historical landmarks, local festivities, and town legends. But as Halloween neared, the tales and myths surrounding Morley Mansion became the talk of the town. And this year, curiosity was at its peak. The Morley Mansion, perched on a hill overlooking Hollow Creek, was a splendid relic from a bygone era. Its Victorian architecture, from its pointed arches to the beautiful intricate woodwork, exuded a sense of grandeur. Its history, however, was far from splendid. Tales of tragedy, betrayal, and haunting filled the town's lore. The Morley family, once the pride of Hollow Creek, met a tragic end. Their sudden and mysterious deaths were whispered about in hushed tones. Some said it was a family feud that turned deadly. Others believed it was a curse brought about by an old vendetta. Whatever the truth, the mansion, once filled with life and laughter, now stood as a silent sentinel. Despite the stories, or perhaps because of them, my friends and I were drawn to the idea of a midnight adventure in the mansion. The evening festivities of Hollow Creek were a sight to behold. Children in colorful costumes paraded the streets, homes competed in decorating contests, and local stories were shared around bonfires. Lost in the revelry, it was almost easy to forget our daring plan for the night. As Hollow Creek transformed into a Halloween wonderland, we found ourselves in the town library. Elise, with her innate ability to uncover the most hidden of records, discovers a collection of handwritten journals and old newspaper clippings, all pointing to Morley Mansion. These papers hold testimonies from various townsfolk over the years, each weaving tales of personal encounters and chilling events linked to the mansion. They describe disembodied whispers, shifting shadows, and chilling accounts of Eleanor Morley's apparition. For hours, we delve into the documents. Sam, always the strategist, sketches potential paths we could explore inside the mansion based on these accounts. I, both intrigued and apprehensive, note down patterns and common themes that appear. The library, usually a place of quiet study, transforms into our secret base, a hub of anticipation and planning. The stories not only bolster our excitement, but also set our purpose to unravel the enigma of the Morley Mansion. As the clock edges got closer to midnight, our anticipation built, and we made our way up the mansion's winding path. The iron gates creak as we push them open and step onto the estate's grounds. Every rustle of the leaves, every whisper of the wind feels more pronounced, playing tricks on our already heightened senses. Pushing the grand doors open, we were met by the musty scent of aged wood, and the sight of once opulent interiors now tarnished by time. Elise shared snippets from her research as we explored. "This was once the most celebrated house in Hollow Creek," she murmured. "Can you imagine the balls and parties that took place here?" As we delved deeper into the mansion, the atmosphere grew heavier. The family portraits lining the walls seemed to watch us, their eyes following our every move. Every creak of the wooden floors, every gust of wind through the broken windows added to our unease. The silence was almost tangible, wrapping around us like a shroud, only broken occasionally by our own hesitant footsteps. As we passed through a grand hallway, adorned with intricate carvings and rich tapestries that had lost their luster, our torches revealed yet more portraits. Some faces looked stern, others regal, and a few wore faint smiles. But all had the same piercing gaze that seemed to scrutinize our every action. Suddenly, a portrait caught my eye, distinguished from the others by its intense aura. It was a hauntingly beautiful woman, her eyes cold and her expression unreadable. The nameplate read Eleanor Morley. A dim light of our torches made her visage seem almost alive. Fascinated, I couldn't look away. It felt as though she was beckoning me closer, her eyes locked onto mine in a silent, eerie communion. Sam noticed my fixation and playfully teased, "What's got your attention?" Before I could respond, the room darkened, an oppressive weight filled the air. The painting's edges began to move, like ripples in a pond. Eleanor's features began to twist and morph. Her eyes turned pitch black, hair faded into an eerie white, and her mouth opened wide, Eleanor's hand reached out toward me. I stumbled backward. Elise grabbed my arm, pulling me away from the painting. "We need to leave now," she yelled. The air grew colder, and the sense of being pursued intensified. Sam, usually calm and composed, looked genuinely frightened. "Oh my God," he shouted as he led us through the winding hallways of the mansion. Every portrait we passed seemed to come alive, transforming into a nightmare, and hands trying to reach us, as if wanting to pull us into their painted world. With the front door in sight, we sprinted towards it. Bursting through the entrance, we spilled onto the lawn, gasping for air. The cold night seemed suddenly welcoming compared to the suffocating atmosphere of the mansion. "We need to call the police," Elise said breathlessly. The local sheriff arrived within minutes. After we quickly recounted our chilling experience, he gave a knowing nod. "It's not the first time I've been called to this mansion," he admitted, seemingly unfazed by our tale. Inside, with the sheriff accompanying us, the mansion felt different. The oppressive weight was gone, replaced by the more familiar feel of an abandoned house. The portraits looked just like ordinary paintings. The sheriff studied the portrait of Eleanor Morley. "Every year, some brave souls venture into this house, and every year, tales of odd occurrences emerge," he mused. Elise, ever the skeptic and not one to believe in the supernatural, began inspecting the room closely. She paused, taking a deep breath and letting it out slowly. "There's something odd about the air," she observed, her scholarly curiosity evident in her furrowed brow. "It feels heavier." Sheriff looked skeptical. "Look, I've been to this mansion more times than I can count. Kids get scared, see things that aren't there. It's an old house, with lots of legends. It tends to play tricks on the mind." Elise met his gaze with determination. "Sheriff, this isn't just about what we saw in the paintings. It's about the atmosphere here. Something isn't right. I think there might be a tangible, real reason behind what we experienced." After a moment of consideration and perhaps recalling the numerous past incidents at the mansion, Sheriff Thompson sighed. "All right," he relented, "we'll run some tests. Let's see if there's any merit to this theory of yours." A few days later, he called us to the station. The results were in. "You kids weren't hallucinating," he began. "The house was filled with an old form of paint, used back in the day, which releases fumes over time. These fumes, combined with the house's lack of ventilation, can cause hallucinations. It's possible that the Morley family was affected by this, leading to their tragic end." The news spread through Hollow Creek. The Morley Mansion mystery was finally solved. A mixture of relief and disappointment filled the town. Some were glad to know the logical reason behind the tales, while others mourned the loss of a good ghost story. We were left with a lasting bond and a newfound respect for the dangers of the past. We realized that sometimes the scariest things aren't supernatural, but very much grounded in reality. The Morley Mansion was sealed off, a silent reminder that sometimes legends have a kernel of truth at their heart.